Hello, friends. We are accustomed to identifying someone as fortunate or unfortunate in the traditional Parashari system by focusing on the ninth house. However, in Krishnamurti Paddhati, the ninth house has little influence over a person's ability to achieve success and material prosperity. The role has been lessened and it is diminished in the Krishnamurti Paddhati, the role of the ninth house. Now, this particular role, the role of the significance to provide material prosperity and even luck, is given to the 11th house in the Krishnamurti Paddhati. I did a video on the significance of the 11th house in Krishnamurti Paddhati that you can find on my channel page. So now what kind of results are assigned to the ninth house in the KP framework? Let's take a closer look at the ninth house and its role in terms of house grouping or handshaking with other houses in the Krishnamurti Paddhati. Now the in the KP framework, the ninth house is still assigned all these properties that we have been learning. That's the bhagya and the fortune, and then pretty much everything that has something to do with religion or spiritual activities, philosophy, and then the places of worship, which means all kind of places of worship, whether it's a temple or a church or a mosque or even a gurudwara or even any kind of place of worship, is all assigned to the ninth house. And the long journey, that's also uh, belongs to the ninth house and the father. So these are the usual things. Most of us already know that the ninth house represents all these things. And so in the Krishnamurti Paddhati also, the ninth house still represents all these things. And then of course it is the Bajak house for the fixed signs like the Taurus, Leo, Sagittarius, and the Aquarius. The Marak and Badak. So the ninth house is Badak for the fixed signs. Now, one of the things that I wanted to point out was about the ninth house representing the father. In some of the videos I have seen that the 10th house is taken as the house to represent the father. It no doubt it seems more logical because the fourth house is the house representing the mother. So the seventh house on the fourth, which is the 10th house, represent the father. But Shri KSK has mentioned this thing that some person advocate the fourth house and the 10th house for father. Fourth house for the mother and the 10th house for father. It is incorrect. Always take the ninth house for father. So if you are following Krishnamurti Paddhati, then this is one advice from the Professor K.S. Krishnamurti. Always take the ninth house for father. Now in the things that the ninth house represent, there is a couple of observations that Shri KSK made and that I would like to share over here. One is about the philosophical belief. See, normally when we see planets like Jupiter and Moon and the Ascendant Lord in the ninth house, especially even in the Lagna chart, then we assume that this person will definitely have an inclination for spiritual things in life, and that's quite true. I have in most of the horoscopes I have seen where the Ascendant Lord or Moon, if it is occupying the ninth house, and I'm talking about the Rashi chart. I'm not talking about the Kaspa chart even. And I have seen that those kind of person, they do have a inclination for the spiritual things in life. Now, but there is one uh, something that you might want to make a special note. See the philosophical belief, which means that if a person believes in a certain sect, like even in our Sanatan Dharma, we have so many different sects. Like the Bhakti Marg is there, Jnana Marg is there, Yoga is there. And so all kind of different philosophical belief systems are there. Sometimes they even contradict uh, in terms of their basic outlook. And but all kind of belief systems are there. Now the one of the I would say that risk element in the ninth house. The ninth house is not always. It doesn't mean it's always going to represent good things in life. When you have a planet like a Saturn or Uranus in the ninth house, and especially if they are in the fixed sign in the ninth house, then sometimes these philosophical beliefs, they convert into very obscure, a very rigid and a fundamentalist kind of a belief system. That cult kind of a belief system. Very these people become very driven by some rigid ideas, and this usually happens when you have Saturn and Uranus in the ninth house in the Rashi chakra, and if the ninth house uh, has a fixed sign. So this is one thing that you might want to make a note of it. And with this kind of a combination in the ninth house, these kind of people are prone to have a very strong views on the philosophical belief, but at some point of time in life, it might translate into a very rigid kind of an outlook. So that's one of the things that I wanted to point out here. Now there are so many other stuff that the ninth house indicates. It also indicates the pilgrimage, the law, and then all these higher education, universities, higher learning, those kind of stuff. So what I have done is that I have identified a few of the things that really matters, and we are just going to focus on those things. And what are those? The personality traits, how the ninth house influences a person's personality, and then the education, higher learning, studies, and all that long journey, how the ninth house is involved in creating an opportunity or a promise for a long journey, and then even the career and the profession, how it influences the things related to career and profession. And then last but not the least is bhagya, because ninth house we always associate with the bhagya or the fortune. So in the Krishnamurti Paddhati, what kind of additional things ninth house has to do to actually start creating the so-called the bhagya and the wealth in a person's household. So let's first start with the personality uh, traits. And now in the Krishnamurti Paddhati, obviously you have to look at the significators of the houses. So some of the rules that you might want to make a note of is that if majority of the planets, if they represent 915, see the ninth house and the fifth house, they are deemed to be a very good positive houses in Krishnamurti Paddhati in terms of providing a very positive and a kind and benevolent personality, to a person. A person who has many planets signifying the 915, they are very helpful person. They are very kind. They believe in the God, and they will always talk about their religion and the spiritual thing. So the rule in KP is that if majority of the planet, they signify the 915. Now when we say majority of the planets, mean three or four planets. If they signify uh, the 915, 9, 1 and 5 houses. And what is meant by signifying 915 houses? That means this combination can appear anywhere in the in the column 1 that signifies the planet signification at the star lord level or at the sublord level. And of course, the I would say the degree of the strength will differ the the 915 is signified in at the star level, then it is more pronounced. But still, 915 at any column 1, column 2, column 3. And when I say column 1, column 2, column 3 means column 1 means the planet signification, column 2 means the star lord signification, and column 3 means the sublord signification. So that's one of the things. You will find these persons very kind, very helpful, very positive, and they take very much interest in spiritual things in life. And I have seen also where 6 or 7 planets that are focused on the ninth house. And these people, though they are working as a in some corporation and holding a senior executive position, but they are highly spiritual uh, leaning persons, and they always studying religious books. They like to engage themselves in the spiritual conversation, and they take time to go and visit the worship places. And in fact, many of them you will find are um, part of some as a trustee or as an active volunteer or a senior volunteer for some charitable organization. And that charitable, when I say charitable organization, means that it should have a religious or a spiritual a leaning to it. So that's one of the things that is that you might want to make a note of it. Then the 9, 3, 12 plus the Aries sign. So these kind of a person, they become a very attentive listener when the Aries sign is there. And these kind of a people, they have the skill to grasp any subject very quickly. So this is one of the combination for the people who are very attentive, able to quickly grasp things. Then 9, 3, 12 plus Mercury, this combination will make a person researcher in astrology, because Jupiter and Mercury, they are deemed to be, both are, one is a Buddhi Karak, second is a Gyan Karak. And Jupiter and Mercury, they have something to do with astrology also. So, because many times, people ask that whether they have this yoga to become an astrologer or not. And I have noticed that the ninth house and the third house, if there is some kind of a uh, handshaking or a combination where Jupiter and Mercury are involved, then this is almost a sure guarantee that that person will definitely take interest in the astrology and other occult topics. And 12th house is, the house of research also. So if the 12th house is also there, then these person will become very good researcher in astrology. And now the 9, 5, 11. So 9, 5, 11 makes a person very sincere and faithful. If they are your friend, then they are going to be your friend for the whole lifetime. And they are very loyal and they are very sincere to the friendship. Or even in love affairs or matrimonial life, they are very dedicated and loyal. So when see some of these combination, you have to what I would say are age centric. Age centric means that, for example, the when a person is in a university or a college, that kind of a that kind of an age bracket. At that time, this the 9, 3, 12 and all that will give them this kind of an interest. They start studying the occult subjects and all that. And similarly, there is a age when that chemistry of falling, in love happens. There is a certain age. So at that time, when you have the planets that appear in the dasha or the bhukti, dasha or the antardasha, uh, and with this kind of a combination, so they tend to be a very faithful and loyal in terms of love affair now. And then another thing is that this particular combination 9, 5, 11, and 3. So these people are very good at negotiating. They're very fair, they're very balanced. See, the third and the ninth house, anyway, by default, if you know Krishnamurti Paddhati, then the third and the ninth house are often quoted in terms of whenever there is some negotiation has to happen, then the third and the ninth house are always in the picture. Along with that, when 5 and 11 is there, then this kind of an influence of a few planets in the horoscope will make a person very good in as a negotiator, and they're very fair and balanced. So this was about the personality traits. And apart from that, I already pointed out that if the ascendant, moon, Jupiter, if they are even Mercury, if they have to, if they're influencing the ninth house, then the person will have a good inclination toward the, the religion or the spiritual things, learning, those kind of. Now let's move on to the actual education. Now in Krishnamurti Paddhati, we already know that the ninth and the fourth, this house are chiefly involved with the formal education. We're going to college or doing high school or university or PhD. So these kind of a thing for that 9 and 4. See, what happens is that when you read about education and all that, you will always find the 4 and 9 like this. The 4 and 9 indicate the formal education. So 9 and 4 is the same thing. 4 and 9 is the same thing. Since we are talking about the ninth house, so that's why I am giving more priority to the ninth house. But 4 and 9, 9 and 4, they are the same thing. So when at the time of that specific age, when a person is getting admitted to a college or a university or trying to do a PhD or whatever, so at that time, this particular combination 9, 4, 11, and 12, this creates a very good chance for somebody to go abroad, because this is one of the very frequently asked question, that whether I will be able to go abroad to pursue my higher studies now. So you have to identify the bhukti, the dasha both at that particular age, and then you have to look at if this particular combination is active or not. Combination is active, then the person can have a very good chance of going abroad for the higher studies. Now I did a video on the education. So what kind of education a person is going to get, a technical or humanities, languages, arts, or commerce. I think I covered all those things in that video. But here, since we are just focusing on the ninth house, so so we will just try to be just focused on that alone. The 9, 4, and 10. This is a very important combination because it creates the opportunity to obtain the technical education. I think when I was going through this particular combination in one of the Murthy's article, I thought that this might mean that this whatever this person is studying is the kind of job that person will be doing. You know, but I really don't know, because unless and until I have maybe 50, 60 charts, and then we run this and then we find a pattern that represents this particular combination, and then we see, okay, this person got a job or got a career. uh, so whenever I look at this particular combination in the KP framework, 9, 4, 10, opportunity to obtain technical education, I have always thought that this actually means that whatever somebody has studied is the kind of career or profession one will get into. And but I'm not sure. This is more like, I would say, a academic kind of a thing. You see all these various combinations floating in the KP framework, but unless and until this has been applied to about 50 or 70 horoscopes and have been confirmed by someone that yeah, it actually means this. So, and this is a nice combination, 9 4 10 opportunity to obtain technical education. It was actually, opportunity to obtain vocational and technical. So it actually means that if somebody is studying engineering, then he or she gets into that kind of a career or profession. A lot of time we see that a person has been studying some, or has been specializing in a specific subject, but when it comes to the choice of career or profession, then it has nothing to do with that subject that the person has studied. So this is a very interesting area to collect some data. And then again, the 948, it indicates a break in education, a severe kind of a break in education. And then again, the this particular combination where you see the 9 and 4 appearing multiple times, which means that 3 or 4 planets, or even more than that, if they are constantly becoming a significator of the ninth and the fourth house, and if they are in the movable sign, then that particular person is fond of studying throughout the life. You see, you meet a lot of these persons who are forever student. They tend to uh, get into some new subject, and they try to acquire a formal knowledge into that subject, irrespective of the age. So this particular combination is really very interesting. 9 4, and this works. If you find a horoscope where you have multiple planets signifying the ninth and the fourth house, then you can very comfortably say that this person will be uh, forever a student. And then this combination, the 9 3 4 11 and 2, this creates an inventor, something who is going to do some innovative stuff. 12th house is house of research, and 9 4 11 and is already the has something to do with education. So see, a lot many times, and there are lot many other combinations. There were lot, I would say maybe 10 or 15 more, and but I have not listed them here because many of these combinations are very academic in nature. So somebody might, let's say, produce one single horoscope saying that, look, here is this 9 4 10, and this person studied, let's say, microbiology, and now he has gotten into that kind of a career. But that one horoscope is not sufficient. So, so I would rather discourage you to jump to conclusions with these kind of academic uh, the house groupings. But it is there for you to, if you have time, then you can collect some horoscope, figure it out, and if you share your research, that will be a valuable contribution to the KP community. But some of the combinations will definitely work. Those are proven, tested over a period of time. 9 4 11 12 will work. 9 4 8 will work. 9 just 9 4 will work. Movable sign is okay. I think even if the movable sign is not there, even then you can comfortably make this prediction. 9 4 8 is also will work. This I am not sure. It is just there. It's more like an academic thing, unless you collect some horoscope. And then let's come to the long journey. So we know that 9 3 12. Usually we say 3 9 12. are associated with the long journey, horoscope. But since we are focusing on the nine, so I've mentioned the, the ninth house. And now with this particular combination, 9, 3, 12, which basically means the journey, these are the additional qualifiers. So now if you have a planet that indicates 9, 3, 9, 12, this kind of a combination, and along with that combination, it also indicates 4 and 11. And apart from that, it also indicates that particular age in life where a person is in the college or the university. Then it indicates that the person will be going abroad or will be making a journey for the higher studies. Sometimes people leave their home also, they go to some distant city, a metropole city or some city, they start living in a hostel. So at that time also you will see this particular combination 9, 3, 12 plus 4, 11. Then the 9, 3, 12 means a long journey plus 1, 6, 12. That means the person is going abroad for some treatment. So these are very logical kind of a combination. If you have some handle on the Krishnamurti system, then you can say, okay, the first house indicates the treatment, and the sixth house indicates a disease. I can even remove, 12th house, but anyway, it's going to get repeated. So this particular combination means that the person will be making a long journey for the treatment. Sometimes you run into these questions where somebody who has the resources to go abroad and get treated for some medical condition, and then they would like you to look at the horoscope and figure it out. And then there is another interesting combination that I saw was the 9, 3, 12 plus 5, 12, 5, 10. So plus Venus. That means one will be going abroad for the stage performance. You see a lot of these Bollywood stars, not even Bollywood stars, now these days, all these, even the Indian Idol winners or the, B or C grade or D grade artists, those are good stage artists. So they go abroad for stage performance. So I came across this particular combination and I thought that I should mention this. Now I'm not sure whether this combination actually works or not, but I thought for academic purpose I should mention this. And then 9, 3, 12 plus the 16. That means the person will go abroad or will make a long journey, not necessarily abroad, will make a long journey that is connected with some job or profession. This combination works. 9, 3, 12 and 16. This combination will. Another very interesting combination I came across was making a long journey for smuggling purpose. People go to some other countries. Sometimes they go even as an illegal immigrant, and then they start some these underground channels of smuggling. So this I came across this combination 9, 3, 12 plus 8, 12 plus Saturn, Mars and Ketu. So that means that one will go or make a long journey, go to some distant place, and then get himself or herself engaged in the smuggling business. Now, like I mentioned, this is just a very academic thing. So if you came across this horoscope where you see this combination, you should not be just jumping to some conclusion. The, this is something that needs more data. And now if you have that kind of a proximity to smugglers where you can collect maybe 20, 30 horoscope and find some patterns on this line, then you might want to share it with the KP community. So now let's move on to the our next section, and that's the career and profession. Now the ninth house, what it has to do with career and the profession. So here you will find that the one combination that I came across was the 9, 4, 10, which is the acquisition of the industry or the manufacturing unit. See, a lot of the horoscope that comes my way, and I'm pretty sure the lot of the horoscope that might be coming your way, these people get into some kind of a service rather than a business. So, or maybe some administrative job, government job, or a private job, or maybe a software professional or a medical practitioner working for some hospital. 80-90% of the time, I have seen that the horoscope that I get usually associated with people who are in the service industry. And but I once in a while I do get chart of people who are in the business. So, and especially the manufacturing thing in the business also, there are some chart that I have who are people who are in the more in the trading business. But at least one chart that belongs to one of my friends. So he is a big time industrialist, and he has a manufacturing unit. So I this is not this combination not from his chart, but I know that this combination uh, appears in his horoscope. 9 4 10 is means the acquisition of industry or the manufacturing unit. Why it says the acquisition of industry? Because the ninth house belongs to the, the father, and then the fourth house is the house of actually manufacturing. Fourth house means the to to produce something, to create something also. 10th house is for the profession. So this is a very important kind of a rare combination, 9 4 10. And then now in a horoscope, if you have many planets which are indicating the ninth house, this is a bad combination in Krishnamurti Paddhati, and it really works. So when you are making a transition from the Parashari system to the Krishnamurti system, and then you are you have that fixation that the ninth house is the house of fortune and luck and all that. And in the Krishnamurti Paddhati, suddenly you find this a big shock that the multiple ninth house. Now in KP, the multiple planets are signifying the ninth house. There's a lot of focus on the ninth house. This is not deemed to be good. So this comes as a shock to especially the new KP enthusiast, because we have this kind of fixation from the Parashari system that the ninth house is the house of fortune, and abundance of the influence of the ninth house is likely to make a person very fortunate. But in KP, the abundance of the ninth house is actually a very negative. It gives a very negative kind of a result, because the ninth house is the 12th. The ninth is 12th from the 10th house. So it negates the 10th house. So when you have a chart, and here we are talking about the cusp chart, KP cusp chart, and you find that there are multiple planets that are representing the ninth house, then that person will not have a fixity. That person will keep on changing from one job to another job. It's a very, there will not be any stability. This is not a good thing from the KP perspective. And I've seen this working very, very finely. This is a very reliable rule in KP, and it works. That too much of the nine and even fifth also is not a good house, because fifth, negates the fifth is the 12th from the sixth house, which indicates the service. Sixth house indicates service in Krishnamurti Paddhati. And the fifth house is the 12th house. So fifth house and the ninth house, both houses together are not good in KP. See, they are good from some other angle, but when it comes to the career, job, profession, and things like that, then this is not a good thing to be the KP frame. 9 and 10, it represents Rajyog. I'll just explain in a while how Krishnamurti has mentioned about the 9 and 10. And then 9, 5, and 10, this combination means change in job. So, and this is where you again have to look at a certain age, when a person has already gotten into some job and he or she is due for some kind of change or a transfer or a promotion, those kind of a thing. So at that time, you have to identify that particular bhukti and see if this particular combination appears. So if this particular combination is appearing, then you can identify that particular bhukti and say that a change in job is likely to happen during that period. Now, if you have this kind of a combination, 9, 5, 8, and 12, then this is a suspension. This is not a good combination. 5, 8, 12 is not a good combination in Krishnamurti Paddhati. And when it has this handshaking with the ninth house, which negates career or profession, then that particular period is not a good period. Sometimes, people say, okay, if I get suspended, what happens? So in that case, you have to look at the subsequent or the next bhukti, and if you find that the next bhukti has 6, 10, 2, 10, that kind of a combination, then you can say, okay, after this suspension in the next bhukti, you will be able to find another job, or you might be reinstated in the same job. So, and now the ninth and the 10th. So Krishnamurti has mentioned about the Rajyo, about when the ninth lord is in the star of the ninth and the star of the 10th. They have an exchange of the star between the ninth and the 10th. So then it creates I'm forgetting the name of that yoga, but it has something to do with the Raj Yoga. So, and especially people who are aspiring for some higher post in the government, like secretary or those kind of very high posts, or people who are looking for a political career, then this a particular combination of the exchange of the star lord between the ninth and the 10th. Now, when I was thinking about this particular Rajyo, then I thought that it would be also a good idea to see if the sublord, see if a planet is a significator of the ninth or the 10th, or if a planet is deposited in the sublord. Here I am not talking about the star lord, the sublord, and that sublord is the lord of the ninth house, and then another planet sublord is the lord of the 10th house. I mean, there is an exchange. You understand? The the lord of the ninth in the sublord of the 10th, and the lord of the 10th in the sublord of the ninth. So there is an exchange at the sublord level. So that also could be an interesting thing to observe. I don't have much data of these politicians. Some of the chart that I have, I'm not sure about the time. So this is the ninth house when it comes to the career and profession. Now let's look at the last thing. Last thing is about the bhagya, fortune, or the wealth. That is what the ninth house is associated with. Now, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, that the when it comes to the material prosperity, it is the 11th house that's important in Paddhati, and ninth house is not that important. The 11th house rule in Krishnamurti Paddhati works fine. I've seen so many horoscope where somebody who is having a abundance of the 11th house significant, they have a comfortable sailing in life. Materially, they are well off. So ninth house is not a guarantee. But still, what kind of uh, a bhagya or the fortune or the wealth opportunity the ninth house could create? See, what happens is 11th is the house of income. But when we say, okay, income from what is the source? So then every other houses, they tend to have something to offer in terms of the source of income. So now if you just put the focus on the ninth house, and then you say the ninth house, yes, the sorry about that, the ninth house handshaking with the second and the 12th, second and the 11th house. So it creates an opportunity for a person to have an inflow of cash and the ornament. That's what the second house indicates. 11th house you see is common everywhere. Then if there is a ninth house and then there is a third house and the 11th house, and when the ninth house is there, ninth house also indicates the ancestor. So this particular combination indicates that a person will have the opportunity to get cash or the ornaments from the uh, ancestors. Then the ancestral property or the ancestral belonging. Then 9, 3, 11 means the stocks, share, bonds, etc. that belong to ancestor. So that kind of an advantage the person can have. Similarly, 9, 4, 11. Fourth house, is for property, and ninth house is for the ancestor. So all these properties, it might be a house, or it might be a piece of land, or it could be even a vehicle. So all these things, uh, and then the 11th house means there is an income, or there is a receipt, or there is an inflow. So 9, 4, 11 will create that kind of a fortune for a person to acquire ancestral property or vehicle. And now the another thing is the 9, 6, 8 and 12. Now 6, 8, 12 is another bad combination in Krishnamurti Paddhati. So when this combination appears, that means there is a lot of debt that has been left behind by the father or the ancestor because of the ninth house, and the person is now responsible to take care of that. Now he has to clear off the loans. So that kind of a liability is there. So this particular combination indicates a bad thing when it comes to the money matter. And now another thing is there. The ninth house also indicates it's a house of prayer, worship, and those kind of things that we know. And another thing that I have forgot to mention was that 9 and 11 also creates an opportunity for someone to become, like a priest or a father in a worship place, or give some religious, spiritual discourses and earn some money. Not free, earn some money because the 11th house is there. But if the 8 and 12 is there, then that particular person, whatever remedy he or she is recommending to a person, they will all go waste, including his or her own prayers will go in waste. That's what this particular combination indicates. And then the ninth house is also the house of calling all these spirits, soul and spirit. You see, people, they call all these spirit and soul. They do these planchet and those kind of thing. 9 and 12 plus the Saturn and Ketu. So this combination indicate that the person might be an expert, kind of an expert, or he might be known for the planchet and those kind of activities. A lot of these are, I would say, more academic kind of a thing. And once in a while, I see somebody, in some of the articles I have seen, one horoscope as an example where particular thing has been pointed out, but one horoscope is not sufficient. But the idea is, yeah, the ninth house, when it has something to do with the second and the 11th house, then things related with the ninth house become the source for generating some wealth, money, and fortune. So now we have covered all the important properties that belong to the ninth house and how those are interpreted within the Krishnamurti Paddhati. I'm sure you might have some more ideas or experience to share with me so that you can leave in the comment section. Thanks for watching.